Even in death, the battle for control over the Bialis family did not cease. Instead, it transformed into a harrowing legal struggle over the physical remains of 3 victims and the cold disposal of a mother's most cherished memories. For more true crime stories like this, hit the subscribe button. On December 17, 2025, nearly 2 weeks after the triple tragedy in Bonanza, a haunting legal agreement was reached in a Sebastian County courtroom, a custody battle for the dead. The court had to determine who had the final right to bury the bodies of Charity Bialis and her 6-year-old twins. The resolution was a grim schism. Charity's surviving 24-year-old son, John Powell, was granted custody of his mother's body, while the twins' father, Dr. Randall Bialis, was granted the bodies of his children. This decision sent shockwaves through the community. Under Arkansas law, as long as a parent has not been formally charged with the death of their children, they remain the primary next of kin. Despite the doctor's domestic violence conviction and the cloud of suspicion hanging over the case, he exercised his legal right to take possession of the children. The result was a profound separation. While Charity was buried by her family on December 29th, the twins were taken by the man Charity had accused of choking her. John Powell expressed the family's agony, revealing that the doctor provided no information on where the children were being taken or whether they would be buried or cremated. The twins, who died alongside their mother, were now physically distanced from her in their final rest. Simultaneously, the legal battle over Charity's life and assets intensified. John Powell was officially appointed as the administrator of Charity's estate. To secure this position, the court required him to sign a $20,000 surety bond, a legal safeguard ensuring he manages the estate's assets, including the $800,000 mansion in Bonanza. According to the law, this appointment was a tactical move to prevent Dr. Bialis from inheriting the very property where the deaths occurred. By becoming the administrator, John Powell invoked the potential of the Slayer statute. This law dictates that if a person is found to have feloniously killed another, they are legally barred from benefiting from the estate or insurance policies. Even without a criminal conviction, a civil administrator can seek to block an inheritance if the preponderance of evidence suggests the heir was responsible for the death. While the lawyers argued in court, a dumpster diver in Fort Smith made a discovery that added a layer of chilling disrespect to the investigation. Approximately 12 miles away from the crime scene, near the apartment address Randall Bialis provided during his February arrest, a trash bin was found to contain several black garbage bags filled with Charity's personal belongings. These were not random items. They were the keepsakes of a life interrupted. The items discarded in the trash included framed family portraits and loose photographs of Charity and the twins, children's painted artwork, preserved from school and play, a delicate gold necklace belonging to Charity, which was uniquely engraved with the names of her 6-year-old children. The presence of these items in a public dumpster near the doctor's residence suggested a deliberate purging of the victim's memory. To investigators, this was more than just cleaning house. It was potential evidence of a lack of remorse or an attempt to dispose of items that could carry forensic traces. The gold necklace, in particular, became a symbol of the discarded victims, a mother's love literally thrown away in the shadow of a domestic violence arrest. As the Secret Service and Homeland Security continued their forensic work, the estate battle became the primary vehicle for discovery. John Powell's legal team began seeking transcripts from the December 2nd hearing, aiming to prove that the divorce was orally granted by the judge just hours before the deaths. If the divorce could be finalized posthumously through a nunc pro tunc, now for then, order, Randall Bialis would lose his status as a widow and any automatic claim to the estate, regardless of the criminal investigation's outcome. While the estate war raged, the most damning testimony didn't come from a witness in court, but from a forgotten digital warning Charity had posted months earlier. She hadn't just predicted her death. She had named the specific prosecutor she claimed was ignoring her, setting the stage for a father's irate confrontation with the judge. For more true crime stories like this, hit the subscribe button. Long before the first shot was fired in the rural mansion, Charity Bialis had already begun her final testimony, documenting her struggle against a system she believed was shielding a criminal while treating her as the problem. In August 2025, Charity Bialis took to social media, leaving a digital trail that would haunt the subsequent investigation. Commenting on an unrelated local news post, she described the battle she was living. In a chillingly direct message, she wrote that she was being shielded by the very system that's supposed to protect us. Most significantly, she named a specific official, prosecuting attorney Daniel Shu. Charity claimed she had tried to reach Shu repeatedly, but that he won't even accept a letter from me. This public accusation turned the case from a domestic tragedy into a scrutiny of local governance. Charity's words, "Lives are at stake, including the lives of young children," revealed that she had specifically warned the prosecutor's office of a lethal risk. The fact that the deaths occurred months later, involving the very children she mentioned, created an atmosphere of profound systemic failure. The system she referred to included not just the prosecutor, but the Arkansas Medical Board, which Charity had also contacted to complain about Randall Bialis' behavior. New details from medical board records show a toxic war of allegations. During a meeting, Randall Bialis defended himself against Charity's complaints of child abuse by making a stunning counterclaim. He told the board that Charity had instructed the children to lie to the police about him. This defense, accusing the mother of parental alienation or coaching, is a common tactic in high-conflict divorces, and it appears to have been effective. Despite his domestic violence conviction, the board and the court seemingly viewed the situation as a he said, she said conflict, which may have contributed to the joint custody ruling on December 2nd. The frustration over these decisions reached a breaking point on the day of the discovery. Charity's father, Randy Powell, was so overwhelmed by the loss of his daughter and grandchildren that he reportedly lashed out at the judiciary. On December 11, 2025, District Court Judge Shannon Blatt took the rare step of filing a formal letter to counsel, documenting an irate phone call from Mr. Powell to her trial court assistant. According to the filing, Charity's father did not hold back his fury. He allegedly stated, "The judge might as well have pulled the trigger herself. The court has blood on her hands." He further demanded to know if the court was still going to keep him from his grandchildren. These comments were so volatile that Judge Blatt filed a formal incident report with the Fort Smith Police Department. While the judge's legal team argued she was merely following the law in abating the divorce, the family viewed the court's decision to award joint custody to a convicted domestic abuser as the direct catalyst for the deaths. Legal experts, including family law attorney Randy Kessler, noted the impossible position of the court. In Arkansas, a judge has to follow the law as written and the abatement of the case. Suspending it because of Charity's death is standard procedure. However, the standard procedure resulted in a man accused of choking his wife being given the remains of the children who witnessed that very assault. As the Secret Service and Arkansas State Police continue their search for a smoking gun in the digital forensics, the community is left with a harrowing timeline of ignored warnings. February, arrest for choking. August, Charity's public plea naming the prosecutor. October, suspended sentence for domestic battery. Early 2025, Charity meets with Senator Terry Rice in fear for her life. December 2nd, court awards joint custody. December 3rd, triple death discovery. The investigation is no longer just about who pulled the trigger in that four-bedroom home. It is about every letter, Facebook post, and phone call that went unanswered in the months leading up to it. The blood on hands accusation by the grandfather reflects a growing sentiment that Charity Bialis did everything a victim could do to save herself, but the system she reached out to chose to listen to the local doctor instead. The case of Charity Bialis has moved beyond the borders of Bonanza, Arkansas, becoming a national focal point for the failures of domestic violence protection. As her son manages her estate and the federal agencies process 12 search warrants, the world waits to see if the system that failed to protect Charity in life will finally provide the justice she pleaded for in her final months. And as always, you've been watching True Crime Story Vault, where every story is told with facts, empathy, and respect for those who can no longer speak for themselves. For more true crime stories like this, hit the subscribe button and comment your thoughts below. Until next time, remember, the truth is never buried.